Aion was announced on May 2006 along with a preview at the Electronic Entertainment Expo. I had absolutely no interest in falling for a game that NCSoft was publishing, shrugging it off as another Lineage 2 style game with shallow gameplay and nice graphics. When the Chinese version was released in April 2009, I decided to give it a try. To my complete and utter disbelief, Aion, the Tower of Eternity, is likely the most fulfilling and enjoyable experience I've ever had in an MMO. Let me get this out of the way. Aion is an incredibly gorgeous game in both visuals and sound. The game uses a heavily modified version of the CryEngine, and the presentation as well as the performance is unlike anything I've ever seen in an MMO. The world has a grand scale, and the attention to detail such as your character holding a leaf umbrella when it rains is top-notch. The music is beautifully composed by Ryo Kanehiko, whose most notable works were the soundtracks to the 12 Kingdoms and Emma. The interface is also wonderfully done, and works to complement the gameplay experience rather than control it. In Aion, you start off by choosing a faction, either the light-influenced Ilios or the dark-influenced Asmodeans. Once you choose a faction, you're asked to choose from one of 4 basic archetypes, which later branch into specialty classes at level 10. Warriors branch off into heavy-hitting gladiators, or the Meat Shield Templar. Scouts sneak into the shadows as an assassin, or become an expert ranger. Mages will graduate to devastatingly powerful sorcerers, or elemental summoning spirit masters. And finally, the priests will later ascend to either the main healing clerics, or the more action-oriented buffers known as chanters. The Ilios and the Asmodean classes are the same, though armor and weapon styles differ between the two races. My only complaint with the game is that you don't have much control in how your character develops. In a small attempt to remedy this, Aion has Stigma, which consists of 5 slots that allow you to place the ability of another class into a slot. There are also titles you can equip that give boosts to certain stats, which isn't much, but hey, at least it's something. Once you have your class selected, you'll be brought to the character creation screen. You have full control over your character with sliders to modify the head and body however you want. The number of available options is impressive, especially since every face, hairstyle, beard, and tattoo is viable and stylish. You're also able to alter the color of your equipment using any weapon or armor style you like to craft with stats of a different item. This allows you to control the look of your equipment without sacrificing better stats of an item you might find visually unappealing. When you finally enter the game, you may be tempted to start killing everything you see, or blindly accept quests and focus on what needs to get done. If you do either of these, you'll be missing out on the amazing story Aion provides. Every mission, quest, and NPC is aware of what's going on in the world, which means everything you do carries with you on your journey. Some quest descriptions can go on 5 to 6 pages, but it's worth taking in every detail the Aion developers worked so hard to create. Combat in Aion is nicely paced and visually exciting, especially once skill chains are presented to your character. Skill chains are combos that can only be used by linking together skills in a particular order, or once certain prerequisites have been met. Some skill chains can branch into one or more combos, which may have a better effect in certain situations. To obtain these and other skills, you'll have to visit a trainer and purchase skill books from them. Another aspect to combat is Divine Power, also known as DP, which you're able to use once you reach level 10. DP is accumulated over time by killing monsters, and is used to cast powerful class-specific abilities. These can range from a helpful heal to a massive burst of damage, but the rate at which DP accumulates keeps these skills from being overpowered. Aside from Divine Power, you also get the ability to fly at level 10. Flying in Aion plays a huge part in the experience as you continue to level up and move on to new areas. While flying in Aion is limited to 1 minute initially, you can increase it later on. You'll get practice flying from the early quests and materials such as Aether, which can only be gathered while flying. You can also get your first taste of aerial combat, but keep in mind that flight can be deadly if you aren't mindful of the timer. In the areas you can't fly in, you can glide. Gliding is easy to use but hard to master, and when you get the hang of it, you can cover some impressive distances. Once you make it to the main city at level 10, crafting becomes available to you. There are 6 production professions: weaponsmith, armorsmith, tailoring, alchemy, handyman, and chef, and 2 extracting professions, materials and ASIN. You can master all the professions if you have the money, and work orders are available to help you level them. As you level your chosen profession, you'll be able to buy recipes from a profession-specific supplier. When you begin to craft or gather an item, a pass-fail meter will appear and begin to figure the odds automatically. While crafting or gathering, you also have a chance of getting a rare version of the item you're trying to obtain. It's not clear what triggers this, but I've heard DP plays a part, though it could be completely random. When you get around level 25, you'll start making your way into the PvP area known as the Abyss. The Abyss is a dark and twisted wasteland of the past wars, where there's no flight timer and legions capture castles from the opposing factions. Joining a legion, Aion's version of a guild, will not only give you other players to group with, but will also yield rewards while your legion holds a castle. As the legion levels up, you'll be able to create legion capes from a variety of styles, and even upload your own custom-made images to display on the back. Participating in PvP will reward you with increased ranks as you battle against fellow players, changing the appearance of your wings to reflect your status. Aion is an amazing game, and for me its biggest innovation is the price model. Usually the price models for MMOs are either subscription-based or free-to-play with a cash shop, but Aion doesn't use either of them. Instead, you pay for the time you want to play, which some may love and others hate. Your average MMO subscription is about $15 a month, but when you aren't playing, you're still paying for that time. When I'm not playing Aion, my time isn't being used, so when I want to take a break for a month or so, my time will still be there when I get back. I'll give you an example. $18 in Aion will get you 205 hours, and to use up all of that time, you'd have to play nearly 8 hours a day, every day, for a month. $35 in Aion will get you 410 hours, and to use up all of that time, you'd have to play nearly 5 hours a day, every day, for 3 months. I've spent $8 on the game, and in 2 weeks I've used up 60 hours. I have 30 hours left, probably about a week, but still, I've only paid $8. Aion is amazingly easy to try and free to download. There's a 6-hour game trial and is probably the most enjoyable MMO you'll ever play. Of course, this is strictly speaking of the Chinese release, so all of this is subject to change for the US release, but either way this game shouldn't be missed.